What's up, everybody? Welcome to Third and Longhorn. We are recapping the Texas versus Kentucky game today, and today we got a full crew. We got some special guests today, so I'm going to start introducing everybody. To my right, we got Alex Okafor, Aaron Williams, and then to my left, we have Joseph Ossai.
Yeah, special guest Joseph Ossai.
And Jeremy Hills. Yeah, in the house. Royalty in the house. Yeah. Everywhere. Let's get right into it. Obviously, Texas won 31-14. Texas goes to 10-1, 6-1 in conference. Kentucky falls to 4-7, 1-7 in conference. And it was an absolute offensive, statistical, beastly night for Texas with 441 yards overall, 191 passing, 250 yards rushing, and held Kentucky to 232 total yards. So, Hills, I'm going to kick it to you. What are your quick thoughts on the game? So
we had an 8-minute drive in the fourth quarter. There's only 15 minutes in the fourth quarter. We used 8 of them.
I think it was 8.5.
We used 8.5 of those minutes on one drive to score a touchdown and tell Kentucky, we know you've enjoyed Austin, but it's time to go.
Did they throw the football on that drive at all?
We ran so many plays that I'm not sure. I think it was a 14 or 15 play drive. Listen, I cannot think of anything more demoralizing than 14 straight runs that results in a touchdown after 8 minutes of getting run over.
15 plays, 86 yards, 8 minutes and 22 seconds.
Goodness great. I don't know what else to talk about. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. Everything else is just details. Y'all gave up an 8-minute drive for a touchdown, Kentucky. That happened today.
Well, it's the second straight game Texas has done this. Like, we did this exact same thing against Arkansas when it was like we needed to take over the game. We just started running it and just power run game.
Yeah, but
we were running hard to that left
difference
side.
is, I say with that Arkansas game, you're 100% right. We definitely did that. But this felt different. This felt like the biggest, one of the bigger statements we've made in a game. Absolutely. This was a straight statement. That, like, all the questions that we've had throughout the year, one of the biggest ones has been Texas's running game, right? Not an extension of the run, not running variations, not off tackle. Like, what does Texas? We ran everything you can throw. We ran off tackle. We ran inside zone. We ran counter. We ran counter from the gun. We ran counter under center. We ran single counter. We ran two-man counter. We ran 14 running. Coach Sark called 14 running plays. Like, think about looking at the play sheet. I think at some point, I'm not even playing. I think at one point I seen him do this. And just start picking
He was holding down the button where he did the exact same play over again.
Bro, he just started picking stuff. So when you asked me what I thought, it was senior day. The energy was high. Texas obviously showed up to play early. They went straight down the field, did what they needed to do, right? After that, it was a little bit slower for us in the first quarter. We picked up in the second quarter. We made some amazing plays on defense. We closed out the first half. Came out slow in the third quarter. And then we had an 8-minute drive. I don't want that to be lost on you. So that's my thoughts about this game.
Joseph, let's kick it to you, man. What are your quick thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it's hard to look away from that 8-minute drive, but that defense, man. I've said it all year. I think we can play with anybody in the country, and I'm standing on that. So it was good to see, guys flying around. You got the defensive line trying to lead the way with the leading tackles and stuff. So you can't even the depth in that room alone. Yeah, it's just, and then you're talking about SEC ball. We had an 8-minute drive. Other teams are gonna try to have 8-minute drive. You need a D-liner to stop that, to negate that, and I think we got it. I'm calling it right now.
This early in the show, you make a call. You call it already.
Here we go.
I'm calling it right now. I think we win it all. That's just me.
Okay.
I'm very biased, as you can tell. But I think we win it all. With the way our defense is playing, and the way the offense is showing that we're not just a pass first team. We can hunker down and play the run, and run the ball and chew time off the clock and get our defense some rest and manage the game when you're ahead too. It's easy to let a game like that slip away.
Right.
but being able to run the ball, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And let's not lose in all of this that Kentucky has a good defense. Like that is the crazy part, is that they have a good line and we were imposing our will. And I think that was a pride game for this offensive line, in my opinion. They
stepped up.
That drive was MVP level for the offensive line. All right, let's hear from you, Aaron. What are your quick thoughts?
I thought we started off really good. Golden came out on a fire the first quarter. And I'm going to give props to the O-line. The O-line definitely showed the domination up front and protected our guy. And then, like you said, the 8-minute drive with the run game, we got to give all praise to the O-line, because if you see, the O-line was down the field while the running back was down there as well.
Yeah.
So you can tell the push that they had the whole game. I'm going to always give shout-out to my defense, man, because 21 rushing yards for Kentucky. I mean, 0.7 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to not win a game when you have your defense holding up your defender or your opponent just like that. We had 2 great turnovers, great interception by McDonald, and another one, Mukabu as well.
Yep.
So I'm always, I let Jay Hills handle the offensive side. So.
I mean, it's impressive. You almost had 200-yard rushers today. Jaden Blue barely missed it by 4 yards, right? Now, the obvious thing to talk about is the fumbles and how sloppy we looked at points in the third quarter. I think when you talk about a complementary team and having your teams back, your offense sputtered. They sputtered, and the defense stepped up every single time. Like, think about it. If you read, they had 14 on the board. Defense gave up 7 in the first quarter, and that was the last time they seen the end zone on our defense.
Right.
That's crazy.
And some of those drives, back-to-back drives, started on the plus side of the field. Defense stopped them on a downs. They missed the field goal on another one, and they are giving us time and time and time again to then do what we needed to do. Yeah. And obviously you could if you got 2 eyes, you could see that Quinn something was bothering him in the second half. Yeah. And it was, leading up to that 8-minute drive, I was curious to see what Sark would do to take back control of the game. And he answered with 14 running plays, right? So, and I think, AJ, you hit it on the head. That offensive line kind of played lights out. I'm trying to not be a fan and really think, all right, was it anything, any kind of leak? And I'm thinking, man, Quinn was clean
Pretty clean today.
for majority of the game. He had time to throw. Even when they would bring additional pressure, it was getting bunched up. Nothing was getting through.
I think the play he got hurt on was in the first quarter, where he kind of he got tackled about a yard before the first down. It looked like he was going to get sacked. He stepped up, got about 4 yards, and the guy kind of pulled him from behind, and it kind of looked like a little bit of a hip drop or something like that. And I think it was his ankle, because they didn't have anything on his knee, and he went back in the tent, and what they were speculating was that they were retaping his ankle. So I think it's his ankle. But if you saw by the end of the first half, he was not moving well.
Yeah.
I will also say that, with having a good team, when mistakes do happen, it's what you do after that mistake. And I felt like today's team on both sides of the ball, there were a couple plays on defense where secondary maybe busted a play here and there, but they recovered from it, and they didn't let that bleed into the next play. Same thing with offense. We'd had a fumble here and there, but we made up for it. And that's what makes a good team, is there's never going to be a perfect game in any football game that I've ever seen. Right. And when you do make those mistakes, how do you bounce back from it? Do you allow it to simmer and kind of affect your next couple plays, or do you come back with something stronger? And also, Gunner's out there just balling out, man. Let's not forget, we got to show love to the tight ends. Right. He does a great job of not only blocking, or not only passing, but blocking as well. I'm not sure if people actually pay attention to when the run game is going and Gunner's out there downfield holding up his block. So shout out to him for doing that. So I'm pretty pleased with this team, and I'm looking forward to next week.
All right, Oak, let's hear your quick thoughts on the game.
Yeah, AJ already mentioned it with Gunner. I'm upset Sark kept Gunner a secret last season, because nobody had any idea that he was capable of this. That's one. Jay already hit it, ground game. I saw everything I wanted to see today. Jay was talking about the naysayers, the people questioning the ground game. It was me.
Yeah.
I was the
Accountability
man.
goes very far.
That
I like
ground
it. We
game
like
had
it.
to let a naysayer know today. It let a naysayer
they
know
let me
today.
know, and I-
Link.
And I love seeing, and not only that, we're closing games out on the ground. I love seeing that because we're going to need that moving forward. Now, I kind of want to hit on Quinn a little bit. I thought Quinn played an outstanding game in that first half. I thought this was his best game since Michigan. People were always trying to get Quinn to get back to that Michigan level of play. This was the week that he got there. That first half, to me, was flawless. He was moving around excellent. It sucks that he got nicked up because we know what a hobbled Quinn looks like. We saw a hobbled Quinn, Georgia. We saw a hobbled Quinn around that time. So I hate that for him, that he's having a hard time staying healthy. But in terms of staying on track and getting back to that level of play, he got there and he looked outstanding at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, and I think obviously for the offensive MVP today, we chose Trey Wisner.
Yeah.
Trey with 26 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown. And he's just, and it's not a knock on the other running backs, but he's Mr. Reliable.
And one thing you got to look at, too, is like the devil's in the details, right? So you hear that, 26 carries, 158 yards. You're thinking, okay, this person's averaging over 5 yards a touch. He had to just break a long one. His longest run of the day was 17 yards.
Yeah.
He was just consistently pressure the whole game.
And I appreciate that about him. Just his consistency. Like, obviously, he's not the flashiest back we got, but he's going to get you a hard 4 to 5 every time. He's going to take care of the football. He gives us that consistency in the ground game. If we didn't have Trey Wisner on this team, I don't know what this ground game would really look like. It'd be scary.
Man, there's something about it, and I mean, I've noticed it before, but today you really noticed it. His body control is insane. He manages to, no matter which direction he's going, he manages to get his body going forward every time, and he's always falling forward for yards. And he was breaking off. I mean, that last drive, he was getting 8 yards, 9 yards here and there. I mean, it was just that's demoralizing.
And the line was down the field. Yeah, the line was down the field. Like you get a guy like that who's already tough to bring down, a physical guy. He's a slasher. He's not really gonna like make these kind of make you jump out your seat kind of moves in the open field. But it's those subtle, sharp cuts, and then you look up and he's 6-7 yards down the field, right? You get a guy like that going full speed down the field without being touched until he's getting to the secondary, and you got bodies on bodies at the second and third level. I'm like, this isn't you don't win like that, man. Kentucky, you don't win like that. Like, let me be clear, you don't win like that. Like, you getting pushed around like that, it's gonna be a long game.
Yeah, I agree. And Jaden Blue ended up with 15 carries for 96 yards. Had a really, really good game, but then obviously had the fumble, which I know it just keeps creeping in there, and it drives me nuts because like you can see he's finally hitting his stride, he's finally finding it, and then that fumble happens, and then
And it's tough, man, because I truly feel like this offense is at its best when we get Blue to 100 all-purpose yards. But it's hard to do if he keeps putting the ball on the ground. So I mean, we got to pick our spots with Blue. 10 carries a game. We got to pick our spots with him.
I was nervous too. I mean, Joe will tell you, I'm be sitting there watching the game, and I didn't know if he scored when on the first one. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not sure, man.
We were right there on the goal line, trying to maybe look and figure it out. But it was a great game. It was obviously a great effort, but thankfully, the rules are the rules. It's a touchdown.
we were all sweating on that one.
Thankfully, they called it on the field.
Yeah.
It's a touchdown.
You know what's crazy? Speaking of the rules are the rules.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what pass interference is. I
said the same thing.
I don't know that rule. I don't know how it works. I don't know when it should be called. I don't know when it shouldn't be called. Because every time I think it's pass interference,
It's not.
I'm wrong.
Right.
Sir. Like, I thought the boxes that need to be checked to equate to pass interference is he didn't get his head around. He got there early. He impeded the receiver from making a play on the ball. And I said, check. No flag. And I'm just like, this is nuts.
Talking
like,
about one to Wingo?
Yes, this is wild. I mean,
And the one to Bond too.
Yeah, one on
what do you, and that's in the end zone, right? So like, wait, God.
What are your thoughts on that, Aaron?
Hey, man, I'm always going to get my DBs, you know what I'm saying? If they didn't call it, it wasn't a PI, so I can't even,
He'll break team, but not position.
Yeah.
I like it.
They didn't call it. It's not a PI. It's just wild behavior. That's
You
just
never
crazy.
know. Every year is something new. cornerback's head didn't get turned around, or he make early contact, and it's something you kind of have to feel over the game for, because every ref is different.
Right.
You would like to think that every ref would call it the way the rule explains it
Right.
in the book, but sometimes a ref is more aggressive than others. And some refs will allow you to play and be physical, and some refs are a little sensitive and will call those things. It's just you got to kind of feel the sense of the game and kind of play off that.
Yeah. And let's go more into the statistics, like the receivers today. As you guys mentioned, Gunnar Helm, 5 catches, 51 yards, averaging 10.2 a catch and 2 touchdowns. And that second touchdown was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
The hit he took to hold on to that ball, the way he adjusted.
adjustment
For
The
a big
adjustment
man.
was just
Y'all sleeping on that throw, though.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
Throw was
Dude,
a dime.
Quinn had quite a few throws today that were just the most perfectly placed ball. Like the one to Bond over the top that the linebacker almost tipped.
Yeah.
And-
oh yeah, that's perfect. Over the back in front of the DB, in front of the safety, right in the hole.
Yeah, Jesse Palmer was like, that's the best throw I've seen in a while. And I mean, it was. Like, the one he threw to Golden, too, in the first half, where, like, before Golden even broke, and he
The
hit
first
the
throw of
outside
the game,
shoulder.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
First
yeah.
throw of the game.
I mean, it's just.
That's when I knew he was going to be on. When Quinn starts out like that, you know you're
Yeah.
going to get a good game from him. So
That's true. It's crazy how much of a feel guy, right? Like a rhythm.
Yep.
And it's like when he gets into that rhythm early, like you legit, you're like, oh, that's why you were like a perfect rating coming out.
Yeah.
Like, Ohio State, Texas, everybody wanted you kind of thing, And then other times you get a little frustrated because you don't see that all the time. But man, today you got to give him his card.
Man, and according to a lot of the Texas fans this week, he's terrible. So that was a pretty good performance for a quarterback who's terrible, who shouldn't be playing. And
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the kid is, and props to him to fight through that. You could tell, he made that first down early that he ran for, and and you could see he let out some of that,
for
and
sure.
good for
I was
him.
gonna say I also love the emotion I saw out of him, because they're always saying, oh, he keeps his composure,
Yep.
he's a calm dude, and I love that. But I saw some emotion out of him.
Yeah.
The guy pushed him out of bounds, and he went and jawed at him like, yeah, we're here all game, and that's what you need in a game like that. You want to see your quarterback be a leader with what he's doing, but also verbally. You know what I'm saying? And I saw some linemen get in the face of the D-line who pushed him out of bounds.
That's
So
what
it was-
happens.
You know what I'm saying? So it radiates around your team, and I love that energy from him. Is all I'm saying. I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I like the way he handled that adversity. I like the way he played it. I like the way he handled himself in the pocket. Like, he had the last couple weeks, there were a little bit of happy feet. Today, it didn't feel like that. And especially knowing he was injured and knowing he couldn't move as well, to be able to stand in that pocket and do that, I was very, very happy about his performance there.
yeah, no, we saw a confident Quinn today. Whenever Quinn's confident, everything increases around him. His mobility, the people around him, the demeanor of this team. We saw that today. The question is, are we going to see it next week?
Yes.
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 Well,
Yes.
I'm talking injury-wise.
Yeah, no, I'm with
all
you.
I'm saying, yeah.
I think it's going to be impossible to keep that kid off the field next week. I think he's going to do everything he can to be out there. So, I mean, he didn't go off today. And I thought for sure there was going to be a moment where Arch came in just because of him being dinged up, but never did. So he fought through it. We'll see. That's going to be about all that's talked about this whole week, I think.
We'll tackle it on the preview show.
For sure. And then Matthew Golden ended up with 7 catches for 86 yards. He played a heck of a game. That guy, I think I've said it before, I thought he was a deep ball guy, just a over the top guy, and he is the most solid possession receiver on this team. And I don't mean that as a knock, because he actually is a game breaker too.
Yeah, no, he got every route in his bag. Man, he got every route in his bag.
Precise with his routes.
Yeah, and then I don't think we have a receiver that's not dangerous after the catch, right? So it's like, pick your poison, man. If you want to put all that attention on Isaiah Bond and you want to tell Matthew Golden, you got to do it, he's like, all right, cool. You want to try to spread him and play everybody? Yeah, cool. We can get his ball to anybody, right? Only thing we can't do is get a PI call. That's it. We can do everything else. We can do everything else other than a PI call.
I still don't think Sark has gotten into his bag yet because our run game was so effective today. And if you look at the stats, I mean, Ringo had 1 reception, Bolden had 2, Bond had 2. That's not really normal. But because the running game was so effective, it was like, let's leave these plays out for next week and allow the run game to keep being effective and keep bleeding this defense out. So I'm excited for next week because I know those guys were feeling real hungry today, knowing that they didn't get the targets they usually get, mainly off the whole season. And I know that we're nicked up a little bit in the receiving core, but it gives them time to rest up and get ready for an important game next week.
I mean, that goes back also to how talented and versatile the actual team is. Right. We don't have to beat you one way.
Yeah.
You know, like today actually was the production came from the tight end room and the running back room. When was the last time that was the case? With like just production, right? Like with the ball in hand kind of thing. You look at, the receivers, super talented, and they're going to contribute, but they don't got to take over every game in order for us to win.
Well, and I think that's the exciting part of the team, and I like what Joseph said with his prediction, because this team, they morph. They're a chameleon. Right. They play how they need to play to win the game, and it might not be sexy. You might look at that score and be like, that wasn't that great a win, or they should have won by 40 points or something like that. But they do what they need to do to win, and honestly, man. I think a lot of the issue is I don't think this committee or the people who vote are watching the games, right? You just look at the score, you're like, oh yeah, it's 31-14. It was and they're looking at that as opposed to you watch that Arkansas game and Texas looked impressive. Yeah, there was a moment where we started to falter a little. Same with this game, but when you see this team play, like they can go. You watch this defense, like the people who haven't watched this defense need to take a second and look at it.
Today made 17 straight games with a takeaway for the defense. And it also made 6 straight games with multiple takeaways for the defense.
I think we're at 17 interceptions this year.
Like
Unreal.
And I think we ain't done yet.
but I look at that
with the feeders.
And Shuley, I think you're 100% right, but like the thing is you look around the landscape that's college football right now, and Indiana just they got a spanking today, 31-7 on the road, and they don't have a strength of schedule to support what they want their future to be, right? You look at Ole Miss, and they go on the road and lose to a team that's barely 500.
That's a team we got to keep out the playoffs.
Right. Right? So
that's a team
I look around and I'm like, you mean to tell me that there aren't multiple other contenders that wouldn't take a 31-14 win at home today?
Yeah.
Well, ask A&M, because right now they're down 14-0 to Auburn in Auburn.
Well, like their coach said, they're fully focused on Texas.
It appears.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, my guys are not distracted. We are fully focused on Texas. Auburn.
The whole conference, the whole speech was about how we're solely focused on the game ahead of us. And then he goes, and all our guys are 100% focused on Texas. And he goes, Auburn.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Hey,
worst
and that's
slip.
what the scoreboard
There you
says
go.
it right there.
Yeah.
14 the first.
The scoreboard supports coach.
Yeah.
You are fully focused on us.
That's good, man.
Look at all.
I will say this, going back to the defense, what's scary about this defense, Jay already mentioned the turnovers. Y'all mentioned all the statistics on this defense. I didn't think we had a very clean game defensively, and we still only gave up 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
I know it's 14 points. I don't consider Quinn's fumble against the defense. Yeah. So we didn't play a clean game at all. What did Joe say?
He said treason.
Anyways, that's the crazy part is to me, I was not impressed by this defensive performance at all. Like, we had linebackers out of position, dropped interceptions, busted coverages. I saw Jade get beat. He'll never get beat.
He got caught peeking.
That's crazy.
He got caught peeking.
But that shows his standard.
Yeah.
Something like that is noticeable.
Yeah.
So I did not think it was a good game defensive. Not good. I
Hold
didn't
on
think
now.
it was a
Hold
great
on
game
now. I'm not going to allow you to talk to the defense like that. They gave up 7 points.
And I said that's the scary part.
We had about
they were able to
2 to
respond.
3 plays
Right.
that were like, but if you look, it was 2 to 3 of those plays were more of gambling situations.
Yeah.
We're up. Let me try to sneak and give me a
AJ,
play.
what exactly is a gambling situation?
All right, I'm gonna let you know. As a DB, when I saw Jade saw that post coming in, so he thought that the quarterback was gonna throw. Now, if you can't throw the middle because obviously you have the safety right there. So maybe throw a little bit outside of him. Jade thought he can come in and try to rob one, but because his eyes were looking in the back of the quarterback, he forgot that he got the deeper coverage. So I mean, when you're trying to steal one for yourself,
Yeah.
you forget your whole job of what you're supposed to do as far as what the defensive call is on that play. So that's more of like a gambling.
And I just think that you know what? Jade has earned the right to be able to gamble every now and again.
Yeah.
All I would say is
Can't do that.
maybe not when you got Mr. 99 speed over here running
Yeah.
a flat go route untouched.
Pick and choose your
Maybe
battles.
not on that. Maybe
But-
just not that.
I do agree with what Oak's saying though. It was kind of the leakiest game we've had. There were especially when they put in props to. I mean, Kentucky might have made a mistake on their quarterback on who they
Oh,
started.
the second
Like,
QB's
oh my
he gotta
gosh,
start
man!
next week for
he
him.
did the same thing that last week too in the second half, and like that kid can go. Like he took the. He put some passes on our guys.
Yeah, he did.
And I think obviously we prepared for Vandergriff, and you could see we weren't as prepared for was it Coley? Bowley, yeah. But I mean, props to him, and I do think there were moments where like that doesn't look like us.
Right, and the only reason I'm putting such a microscope on this defense is because this is the unit that has to lead us to the national championship. Like if we're leaning on our offense to do that for us, we're gonna come up short. I'll let you know right now.
Okay.
The defense has to take us there, and if we play like we did today, we're not gonna get there. So
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that take. But yeah, I like and it's too much. To whom much is given, much is required. So I don't know if I said that right, but
No, that was
Got it.
Very well done.
so
modern day poet.
yeah. But and I think they know that too. I think they know that defense wins championships, and the way they carry themselves, every single one of those guys are dogs, and they talk their stuff when they make hits. They talk their stuff when they make plays, and I think they too, like you were saying, they hold themselves to that standard to where they know. Jade knows he's not supposed to give that. They were playing cover 3 in that, I think, and he knows he has a deep turret. So I like that. That's their standard. You know, it could be. We could be sitting here saying, "Man, we got to do this better. We got to." And our safeties aren't playing, but we're not. We're talking about little things, and I think that's lovely. Which is why I said again, I'm calling it right now. We keep playing like we know how to play, and I know they'll make those corrections because I've seen them do it time and time again. It was plays here and there they messed up, but like he was saying, the response when they came right back the next play and took that stand again, only gave up 7 points. So I think we're gonna take it all the way and win it.
I'm not too concerned about. I'm with you, Oak. I guess what we've seen today that we would like to see cleaned up was super uncharacteristic gambling opportunities, right? Like guys, I'm about to make this play kind of situation, and then when got real,
Right.
you seen them buckle down and respond every single time.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Can we haven't spent enough time on this. I don't even think we spent any time. Can we talk about Jelani McDonald and that interception?
Oh my
Nasty.
Great play.
goodness!
I got to give him defensive
It was great
MVP
play.
just off that.
That's disrespectful my dog Hill now. Hold on.
I give one to your defense.
Yeah.
AJ, walk us through it. Walk us through
think
it.
they were throwing it to
What
us,
were they in? What did you see? I don't know if you seen the routes. Did you see the routes and did you see the
I did. It was a smash route on the outside receiver, and the other guy, I think it was in like a skinny post. And I think McDonald looked outside and realized, I don't really care for that 3-yard, 4-yard
Right.
reception. Turns back, looks at the quarterback, and just gets his depth
That's
back.
what-
That's what
I
it
was
was.
waiting on you to say.
And then for him to turn around and stretch out to get the ball was a phenomenal catch. And then also, if you see the way he caught the ball, he had to put his arms underneath the ball so that ball wouldn't touch the
He
ground.
switched hands.
Switched
Like,
hands.
yeah.
So it was a phenomenal play by him, an acrobatic play, if you ask me.
Phenomenal.
And if we continue to have players on the defensive side of the ball make those type of plays,
Right.
I mean, like AO said, that carry to the national championship. You know, obviously we go a week at a time. We want to get ready for A&M, but plays like that is why Texas's defense is number one,
Right.
and it goes from the D line to the linebackers and then back to the DBs. So.
And we do need to cover it. We're contrary to what Oak said, we gave defensive MVP to Anthony Hill, or most of us did.
And had 11 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles, and then one that's
And he
gonna go
breathed on the
unnoticed.
quarterback that one sack
Oh,
and he fell over.
And one that's going to go on the turnover on downs. I forget which defensive tackle was the one that actually made the play, but it was and smashed that guard. I'm talking about eliminated them. And then next thing you know, running back is trying to run through this hole, and there's no lineman there, and boom, next thing you know, it's a 300-pound man on your body telling you you didn't get it. It didn't work for you, buddy. But yeah, you look at that defense, and the defensive line was hunting again today. I don't know how many sacks we had as a group. I don't know how many hurries there was as a group.
I think we ended up with 6 sacks. Yeah.
And had two.
On a game where Alex Okafor is disappointed in that defense, they walked away with in 6 sacks.
Trey
That's how
Moore
scary
had 1.5.
this defense could be. This is how scary this defense could be. I will say, for as uncharacteristic as we were today defensively, that D-line still showed up.
Yeah.
Pass rush-wise, that D-line still. And I'll let Joe attack it because they hear me talk about the D-line every single week. And I can't. Yeah, what'd you see, Joe?
I love what I see. and when you talk about depth and every single one on that line carrying their weight, I love it. Colin Simmons.
Oof. Oh, my God.
Man, one of the most natural get-offs I've seen.
Yeah.
He's a
The
problem.
way he loads that front foot, man, on that
Dude.
get-off.
Dude, I've never seen it in someone so young. Like, to understand, like, that's what you need to do. Like, as a pro, you know that. As a, as a second-year player in college, you understand, okay, get off. And to do it from standing up and to understand the quarterback's cadence, because I think that's what he's reading and he's jumping. Because you know what I'm saying? But it's just so pure, and it's a beauty to watch. He's on them right now. And at that point, all your technique goes out the window as a tackle, because he's going straight forward. He's speed in your face right now. What are you gonna do?
And you beat off the ball.
Beat off the ball.
True freshman.
Technique, true freshman is what is so impressive about it.
That's crazy.
True freshman, like, how is someone so young? So I don't know. I don't know how to
but
phrase
keep doing
right
it,
now.
my boy.
I don't know how to
Keep doing
phrase
it.
The craziest
Keep
part
doing
is that, like, you look, and I've been saying this for weeks, so like the 8 deep there, like the rotation of talent and bodies and speed, strength, understanding, production. Just production is probably the word I'm looking for. Is that like so much production from that position, and then you're looking at what, like, even with all that production, you're looking at number 11, just saying, this only gets worse.
Right.
Like, this just gets worse for opposing tackles.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
And two, credit the defensive coaching staff for putting them in a position to make plays like this. Like, whenever he came in, we didn't try to put his hand down in the ground. We didn't try to put him in a 6-tech. No, we're going to keep him on 2 feet. We're going to keep him on the edges, whether that's a wide 7, a wide 9. And we're going to let him be him. Great job by this coaching staff. That goes back to the player development that people thought we were missing the past couple seasons.
And now I think if anything, like, we flipped that narrative on his head. Just the last 2 draft classes alone.
Yeah.
Like, player development at Texas is real. And you probably didn't get this as much, but I know for sure you two lived in the era where, going into the draft, one of the things that got challenged was the player development coming out of Texas. Like, they never challenged your talent. They never challenge the tangibles that they can actually measure. They challenge how tough you were, and then they challenge your development.
And the culture.
The culture.
5-star players, 3-star culture.
Exactly. And now you're looking at it, and you are seeing, I mean, it's like, close your eyes and throw a dart. Whoever it hits is producing on the field.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that staff, and I think it goes to say, like, there's something to be said for having the same staff over the last couple of years. The same faces, the same voices, like, preaching their message and developing their guys.
Yeah, we just got an update. I guess A&M threw a pick, and then Peyton Thorne threw a pretty deep pass. So it's 21-0 Auburn
Nice.
over
Like
A&M.
I said,
Love
they
it.
are fully focused on Texas. I mean,
Love it.
They've been practicing for us, too, apparently, because they skipped this week.
why wouldn't they not practice? But they are fully focused on Texas.
But back to the defense.
I was
like,
going to say, Nick, real quick.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't want this to get lost with
No.
the D-line. I got a question for Jay and AJ. You a little young for this, Joe.
Gotcha.
Hold on.
Dang,
You don't got
he
a
added
little,
us.
you don't got a little bro, my little bro.
I'm 24.
Yeah, he's 24. Okay, yeah, he can have an adult
I
beverage.
was going to say, me and Joe, we family. We go back. But no, Jay and AJ, this is probably the best D-line that I've seen since that 09 team. How do you compare this D-line to the O-line? I mean, to the 09 defensive line. Which one are you? What's your opinion on that?
I'm gonna go with my own 09.
I
so-
think 08.
Yeah, 08 was
With
more
Rack,
dangerous.
when you add Rack,
Because you
to it?
add Rack, Roy Miller.
Yeah, ooh.
You add Sergio Kendall, Lamar Houston.
Yeah.
You add Sam Acho just trying to come down as a gunner as a L5 on the kickoff just because he's just trying to get some PT. You start looking at
Right.
that line, like
I guess the reason I said 09 because I can sneak myself in.
oh,
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
You're right, Ayo.
No, that
But yeah, but that's the
but it is.
conversation. I think I'd go 08, but it's definitely a conversation for
Yeah.
sure.
No,
Well, and that's
sure.
huge.
and they're young too, so
Yeah.
that helps. Ooh, that's real dangerous now.
Yeah.
You mentioned that against 08, when we were in 08, we had a lot of seniorities on that squad. So having these guys produce the way they're producing at a young age, it just builds up for more what they have in the future. So I'm gonna still go with my 08, 09
I'm
crew.
with you. I'm with you.
But
I don't know. The more I'm thinking about it, actually, I remember like us being challenged in the interior of that 08 defensive line because when, like, you would have Roy and Lamar, but when it was time to rotate, that's why they were forcing a early Keyston Randall to try to develop because we didn't just have the depth.
True.
But when I'm looking at the two deep
Yeah.
here this year, if I'm looking at just star power, come on, like you had multiple guys go first 3 rounds.
Well, and let's talk about it. Like, I know Oak and I have been hot on this all year, but like Trey Moore hadn't had those flash moments, and he's starting to have them. Like, he's always been solid this year, but today, 1.5 sacks. He had some huge plays. Baron Sorrell ended up with 1 sack. Obviously, we talked about Hill with 2. Colin Simmons had 1, and then Ty Anthony Smith had a half sack as well. So pretty solid day, 6 sacks. I mean, this line just gets after the defensive backs with 2 picks, and
I think I always say like we walk so they could run because I'm gonna say that we walk so they could run, and I'm gonna tell you why. The way when you add in there are new components to be added in that lend in Texas's favor to get just talent above all else, like above anybody else. When you think of NIL and what it has done to college sports, and you mix that with us now moving to the SEC, and that is the most, as a recruit, you talk to any of these young boys, they want to compete. They want to play at that level. Like, the SEC is going to get all the love, as it should. I mean, look around, right? And then, you add in this NIL thing, and you're looking around, I'm like, yeah, we probably going to have really good players for a while.
For a long time.
We just getting started.
Love it.
That's first year in this conference, and we 10-1, y'all.
I
Yeah.
love it.
First year in this
Second year
conference.
back-to-back 10-win games.
First year in this conference. First year in the mountaintop conference, and you are 10-1
Yep.
with an opportunity next week to go introduce yourself to your little brother again.
I see it in the comment right here. Connor Edwards watching it right now. The SEC is dog eat dog. We're a better team than we think we are for staying alive. I love that comment.
That's a really good point.
And I'd say too, credit
Everybody's
Sark.
everybody.
Credit Sark for keeping this thing together. Like that 2-week stretch where Quinn was kind of hobbled, and we played Georgia, and then a tough Vandy team. Credit him for keeping this team close because the naysayers were loud. They were ready to blow this thing up almost.
Lank.
And
Let a naysayer know.
Not what I thought you were going with there.
Staying out of this conversation for sure.
Lank. Coach Sark he been lanking all year. Coach Sark been lanking all year.
the funniest moment on TV of all time.
Of all
That is-
time.
You don't know what Jay is talking
It was
about.
so good.
Yeah. But yeah, credit Sark for keeping this thing together, and we see where we're at right now.
Yeah. I will get into the special teams. Bert Auburn 1 for 2 today. He did have a very nice 49-yarder. The other one, he kicked dead straight. It would have been good if he would have been in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can to
Yeah.
sugarcoat that one.
Yeah.
But I will say, and we haven't done this year, props to Michael Kern, the punter. He had a big day punting, easily his best day punting. He had 2 punts. He averaged 43.5 yards on those punts. And one thing that will get lost in this game, and I want to give him a shout out because I don't even know that we've really mentioned his name all year. Will Stone made a huge play at the end of the first half
Oh,
on the
my
kickoff
goodness.
to get in Barry Brown's way, and he kind of tripped him up by just being in the way. He didn't exactly tackle him, but that was a huge moment because they get a touchdown there and switches the momentum.
We looked at I'm standing there next to Joe, and we see that happening. Joe like, bro, what happened? I said, only thing I can think is like he's done something wrong, and that's karma.
Yeah.
because
Said he
like
tripped over his demons.
literally, bro, tripped over his demons.
Barian Brown is
Treason.
arguably the best return man in college football. He's a beast, and that could have been really dangerous for us.
Yeah.
But shout outs to Will Stone, and he's been solid on kickoffs all year. He doesn't get a lot of love on here, but I want to give him his flowers. Texas ended up with 5 penalties for 40 yards. Kentucky was 6 for 60. And once again,
How many penalties did Kentucky not
allegedly
that should have? I'm curious what that number is.
But going back to that point of Texas, 5 penalties, we have really, I mean, there were games where we were getting above 10 penalties. We have really kind of dialed it in. I'll give them credit for that. Texas, obviously, the 2 turnovers are tough. I think we had 6 fumbles. Don't quote me on that. Let me see.
On the year?
No, in that game.
Wait.
It wasn't 6, but we didn't lose them all.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was about to say I could.
Yeah, we had 6. Silas had 2, his punt and that ball that he kind of fumbled to himself. Jaden Blue with the one that we lost. Quinn with the one that we lost for the touchdown. And then there's one that says team. I don't know what that means. And then Jarrett Gibson had the one too. So that's 6 fumbles.
That's a bad
Wow.
stat.
Yeah.
Treason.
We got to.
There's going to be a lot of guys carrying balls around the class.
Yeah,
this week.
man, that's tough.
Man.
Let's get to some of the fan comments. If you guys have comments or anything you want us to talk about, please get them in right now. I'll start with, let's see, B-Boy Kensu. Thanks for the sponsored comment. He said, if Texas plays like these past 2 weeks, we're going to be in big trouble against A&M or whoever we play against in the ship. Better tighten up. I don't know about that. I kind of disagree on that.
Are we going to be as in much trouble as A&M is in currently, or is there more trouble ahead?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get his point though, right?
Right.
I think we are so critical of Texas because we can see that there's more there, right?
Yeah, we watched it all year.
Yeah,
We're close to it.
There's more there, but I think the comment that I really liked was the one that was talking about the dog-eat-dog SEC. We're playing some really good ball against the toughest conference that is out there, right? So I think Texas is just fine.
Yeah, no, that was the point of moving to the SEC, so we can get these close wins
Right.
Yeah.
and not like
Be
and
penalized
yeah,
from it.
right,
Right.
and then not be frowned upon. This is the SEC,
Yeah.
right? Why does things switch up once we get into the
I
conference?
know.
Before while we were in the Big 12, it was
wild.
like we weren't putting enough points and we don't have that much of a great competition.
Yeah.
And then we get into a place where it's great competition. Now we're, I think the fans are looking for such a flawless game each week in,
Yeah.
week out, and that's just not.
You
That's
just,
not
you're
football.
It's not football
Like
at all.
look around, like
Not
look at,
SEC for
look,
sure.
Look at
Not at
the
all.
SEC, right? Like just really look at
Everybody's
it. Like
losing.
Texas beat Florida by like 1 million. Florida goes and beats Ole Miss. Ole Miss beats Georgia by 2 scores. Georgia barely scrapes by this same Kentucky team.
Yeah.
Texas plays a okay game overall as far as like just cleanliness, I would say, right? The fumbles and everything else. And it's a 31-14 game. Like,
That's a big win in the SEC.
all
by
I'm
the way.
saying is, whatever the metric for impressive is, let's let that be the metric. Like, because I don't hear any of the talk around what was it, 13-12 that Georgia
Yeah.
game. I don't hear no talk about that. When that game happened, the whole world was saying, well, Kentucky is going to play Georgia close.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, right.
Well, look at this Kentucky team is 1-7, and that is not a bad football team. That's a team that could win a bowl game, if they were able to get in one. But like this conference top to bottom is so tough,
Yep.
and I'm so curious to see what the committee does, because you can't penalize a conference that is that strong all the way through. Like
That's been the talk.
and that's what it looks like is going to happen when you look up in the Big Ten, who's super top heavy, is going to get more teams in the SEC.
That's going to be really
we gotta
interesting
get
because
Indiana
I'm just
Amen.
very curious of what, like, Indiana was number 6 coming into
Get
today.
them out.
And they lost. They went up 7-0 and then they gave up
They did
31
more than
unanswered.
lose.
Yeah.
They lost 31-7 to Ohio State today.
Google it.
Google it, right? What happens to them? Like, what happens to them? Because you look at the Big Ten is currently going to have Oregon, Penn State, and now Ohio State. Are they going to let that 4th Indiana team?
No,
Right?
they can't.
So what happens? What happens there? You look at SMU. They're on their way to the ACC championship.
First time in
They're
their
going to
first
meet
year.
either Clemson or
props to them.
Miami. You know what I mean? Like, so there's going to be a representative of the ACC. Can it potentially be 2 Like that, like you looking around, and I'm just. But then you look at the SEC, and it is a true gauntlet. It's a true gauntlet. Like Colorado got knocked off today. Their Big 12 hopes are probably done. But you looking around the SEC, like that's a true gauntlet.
Look at Florida.
Yeah, man. Florida's dangerous.
Florida's a good football team.
Lagway changes everything over there.
They're set up for the future moving forward.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
But yeah, and this is that, like we said, this is a Kentucky team that played Tennessee super tight, that played Georgia super tight, and then beat Ole Miss. Like, this team can go. So, like, to win 31-14 in the SEC is a blowout.
Yeah.
I mean, 20-10 last week might be a blowout.
That's my point is, and I was trying to, I got carried away, but the original thing I was trying to say is, Oak, you saying we winning these close games. I'm saying they all 2-score games. Mm-hmm. They are all 2-score. We don't have, they are all 2-score games. Mm-hmm. Every single one, even the one we lost.
They're really not that close.
That's my point is that like this is not as it's not like this heart pounding game ending moment.
They're taking a knee,
like
most of them.
Like I'm saying, majority of the time we're ending the game with it in hand.
But I will say this: we know how people feel about us, so I'm glad we get to control our own destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If we drop one, just know we are the ones that are out of there. They are not, they are not going to slide us in.
I got one of my best friends, this dude named Matt McDougal. He's never been athletic in his life, but he loves sports. And he watches every sport, every game of everything. He's watching like Korean basketball at 3 a.m. in the morning. You know what I mean? Anyways, like I was talking to him about Texas today. Yeah, he do. He actually does. He got real issue. He got real issue. But like he was talking about Texas today, and he said Texas has to control its own destiny because if they slip up, like they're gonna put us in the street. They're gonna put us in the street, man.
Although there's some interesting things happening with that Ole Miss loss and them getting pushed out. If the Aggies lose, that pushes them out of that 2-loss.
They out of that 2-loss category.
Yeah.
As well.
So like it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I don't want to play that game. We just need to win. We need to take care of business against A&M, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some more of these comments from F for Fake. Ossai has one of the most legendary performances of program history against Oklahoma State. Great Longhorn.
Appreciate that.
Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Daniel Earp says Ossai still out there representing Oak Ridge.
What's Oak Ridge?
High school.
I thought it was gang related.
No,
We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. We do not. I don't know what you're repping, sir.
You never heard of Oak Ridge?
Be repping for the Lord.
that's my high school.
That's hilarious. Dadgum Batman. Joseph and Hills need to be separated. LOL. They're gonna get our heads knocked off with all this bulletin board material.
Hey, they should have heard us at the game. They should have heard us at the game.
Can't mic y'all up.
Yeah.
From Cody Golightly. Can we please talk about Sark's coaching continuity showing up with having the same coaches for 4 years? Yeah. That's
Facts.
I mean, that's a big deal.
That's what I'm saying. It's starting to show up.
And throwing Nansen in that mix. Man, I love watching Nansen on the sidelines. I don't know if you've seen him. That guy goes nuts the entire game, and I love watching that. They have flipped so much. And I've said this before, Kwiatkowski's a phenomenal defensive coordinator, one of the best. And to add Nansen into that, whatever that combo is, it's working.
Yeah, it's turning into like this mix of physical, aggressive, like we are the standard, mixed with like this exotic kind of look that's hard to prepare for.
Crazy athleticism.
With just crazy athletes rotating. You know what I mean? It's like, right, you gotta, that's going to be a long day.
Yep.
And that's what it is when, like they were saying, when you get coaches who stay and they're able to build trust. They're able to build trust. They're able to develop their players and build them up. I think that goes. That's something nobody looks at, and to me that's key, because when you can trust a coach, when you can go in and know that this coach has my back and I know exactly what he wants from me, and I'm able to give it to him. I know this defense inside and out because it's the same defense we had last year.
Right.
I've had the summer to prepare for it.
Right.
I've had the whole off season to watch film and
Right.
figure out how I can be better and perform better in this defense. That alone is so huge, and I love that they've given Sark time, because I remember at the beginning of his time, things were shaky.
Oh, yeah.
And the naysayers, I heard
Lank.
them, the Lanks, the people who wanted to chip in were saying this and that, get him out. And to me, it was
Milroe
just-
owed me a cut.
It was
Milroe owed me a cut.
yeah, come on, get
Yeah,
right there.
I gotta give Milroe owed me a
prices,
cut.
but it's just, I'm just saying, it's allowing coaches to sit and get the recruits in and be able to develop the recruits that they brought in. You know, when you switch a coach up and all his recruits that he come in, that doesn't go with the defense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's to his point, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge that they're able to sit down and develop and have a track record with these
Yeah,
players.
and I think a lot of times we don't. Or when I say we, I'm thinking of the average fan,
Yeah.
or the media. You don't think about what goes into a coaching change. Like that's a relationship.
A lot.
And a lot of these times, that relationship, especially at this stage in these kids' lives, is a lot more than just coach to player.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a human that you spend so much time with that has helped you more than likely has helped you in some form or fashion outside of football.
Grow.
Right? Just growth. And like you talked about, that trust factor and everything else that goes into it. But then just how about the fact that, what do we always say? We want guys to play fast. You play fast when you're not thinking. Well, whenever you're switching everything up every single year, I'm back to step one as to thinking again.
Learning.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, having just that consistency of a voice, that consistency of an expectation, and then the implementation to where by the time I'm my third year in this program, on day one install, I know what that looked like. I'm able now to start focusing on my details.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how guys get better.
That's how you
And
play fast.
one more thing on that is shout out to Sark too for when you do have to switch things up, making the right hire. For example, shout out Coach Kenny Baker. We lose one of the best defensive line coaches in the country, Bo Davis. What do? We fill him in with Kenny Baker, and he has this defensive line playing at even a higher level. So, I mean, stuff like that, making the right moves, picking the right guys for this team has been critical for us.
Yeah, I agree. We got a couple more comments. Thanks to Connor Edwards for the sponsored comment. He said, "Y'all spitting facts tonight. As always, I'm excited for the future of this team. I feel like the best plays tonight were underclassmen besides the O-line. Hook 'em." So, yeah, hook 'em. Thanks, Connor.
Winning it all, Connor.
Got 2 first-round
Put it
tackles
in
on that
right now.
offensive line.
And Jake's going to go pretty high, too. Jake will be second or third.
Yep.
2 first-round tackles
Place your
on that
bets right
offensive
now.
line.
They were saying that might be – there's a chance that this is the last home game for all 5 of the guys on the line, which is crazy.
All 5?
Yeah, we'll see. And then from B-Boy Kensu, another sponsored comment. Appreciate this. Says, "Love you guys. Thank y'all for everything. Hook 'em." Yeah, seriously, thanks to Aaron for always showing up, for Ossai for coming out, and for Hills and Oak. You guys always show up. So, but a
See,
couple
Oak, that's what happens, Oak. When you there all the time, they just like
dependable, reliable. I
Thank
give
the
y'all.
same.
thank you to
Him.
Oak.
Okay.
It ain't the same when you always here.
Yeah.
I might have to miss a couple shows.
Here we go. Here we go. This is from Higgs. As always, shout out to Derrick Joe and Mark Higgins for
Joe.
holding this whole thing down, making all the tech happen.
Higgs.
We appreciate them. Higgs said Trey Wisner was asked what he'd remember from today after his 158 yards, and his response was Jelani McDonald's pick.
Yep.
I love that kid, man. That kid,
Yeah.
we got the chance to interview that kid. He is so solid.
Yep.
You see why he plays the way he does and who he is. He's special. I mean, and you said I don't know what we do without him. Like
He stepped up. He's
the guy.
And I don't want to get into it right now, but don't forget Seth Baxter coming back next
I
year.
know.
That's a conversation for another
That-
day.
Yeah.
That's gonna.
I mean-
that's gonna be fun.
And we
And-
still have Blue.
And
too.
Blue
Yeah.
and Trey.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
nuts, man.
No, Blue is
Junior. Yeah. And then Sark on Wisner. Sark said he might be the toughest guy on the team. That's hard to argue.
I don't know about y'all. I'm curious what y'all think. I used to always think that of all of the compliments, that one carries a different kind of weight.
Great crown of
You know what I mean? Because toughness don't have nothing to do with talent, skill, measurables, or anything else. It's just a decision. So, that's to me, that's a heavy compliment right there.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. And I mean, you got to be tough to play this sport. And to see the type of headhunters we got on this team, for coach to single out Trey and say he's top dog in terms of toughness, yeah, That's an accomplishment.
Wear that proudly.
If I had to put that on a position, I'm glad it's my running back.
He deserves it.
You know
He
what I
does.
mean?
He does.
Well, I think that's mainly what I had today. Do you guys have anything you want to wrap with? Anything you want to say?
Hey man, then next week the atmosphere gonna go crazy, you know. And we can finally talk about it now that we got the W on this week. But I just want to let everybody know next week is about to be one of the craziest games. It's been so long since this rivalry has came back, and to have it back in a field where it's known to have earthquake signals, the whole stadium shakes, and we all been here, have played at Kyle Field, and know that we don't like them, they don't like us. And it's been forever, and I'm sure A&M wants that revenge since the last time we beat them at their own home at the last time of the game. So if players are watching and listening, hey, have your minds ready, because not only you got to be physically ready, but mentally you got to be ready too, because you won't be times where you can't hear the play call. You won't be able to hear your backfield. You got to be mentally prepared and be trustworthy on your game plan, because Kyle Field is a very dangerous place to play in. But I'm super excited for these guys and to be a part of history. And I think that's another thing that we are all glad to. The reason why we came to Texas was to be a part of history and to go against rivals like this school. So next week's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll be doing our preview show this week. That one's gonna be special, obviously. And yeah, I agree with Aaron. It is. I hate saying it, but it might be the best atmosphere in college football.
Hold on. Okay, I was trying very hard not to say much.
I mean,
I ain't gonna lie.
Shuley.
What's going on here?
Shuley, which camera am I? Which camera am I?
he just
This one. Listen,
here we go.
understand something. Fans don't win games. Okay? We support. I'm a fan at this point. I support, but I don't determine the outcome of the game.
Mocktail.
Can't
Listen,
come out there and help you.
understand something.
We can't come out there and help you.
College, they're going to show up early. They're going to be loud, probably a little bit intoxicated, and that's fine.
Not even look.
This
Let's
is
be
the
honest. It's gonna
the
be
bulletin
dumb dirty.
At the end of
bulletin
the
board
day,
material for
at
the week, everyone.
At the
Shut 'em
end of
up.
the day, you got to line it down. And if you think you're going to run zone read for 4 quarters and beat this team, you got another thing coming.
Too fast.
So understand, we're coming. We're coming down to College Station.
I can see this playing on the Kyle Field.
We're coming down to College Station.
You can't
All
stop it.
right? With violence on our mind.
You can't stop it.
With violence on our mind.
Too fast.
I'm telling you.
Boys are ready.
Come on. We like the Migos.
Dear
Boys
Lord, if
are
there was
ready.
ever a time to rap, I feel like this is it.
Boys are ready.
Before we end up
gotta
on the
play football,
Jumbotron.
man. We got to play football.
Like
That's
you
all
were
I'm
saying,
saying.
the fans can't. Shut them up.
That's it. That's
The
it.
loudest plays, shut them up. You know how you shut them up? Big plays.
Facts.
Hit them in the mouth.
Hit 'em in
Punch
the mouth.
over and over again.
This guy talking.
What
He's
can
saying
they
some
do?
things. He's saying some
You know what I
things.
mean? We got the tools. We're going to have to lean into that running game like you were saying, and then we got to lean into that D-line. They're going to have to step up, and I have full confidence that they will. They got the depth. They've got the coaching. They've got the experience. They've been in some battles. That Georgia game was a battle. I loved it. So we got to, whatever it takes, and we got to mastermind it. I don't know if y'all see. I be watching the games in Cincinnati, and the stuff he draws up. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? It's insane. We're winning it all. I'm telling you right now.
I love
us
it.
home, Shuley.
I love it. All right, yeah. Thanks to the folks at Big Hat for giving us their mocktail with Ricky Williams on there. It's a pretty cool can. It's pretty good.
Mocktail.
They got good cocktails too. They do have ones with alcohol. I just didn't want to bring them into the studio yet. So you know,
Good
it is
enough
what
for
it is.
Ricky is good enough.
Shout out to that. And shout out to Burnt Orange Buys for she's offered to hook us up with a bunch of sweatshirts and a bunch of. She's got a ton of cool designs, and so she's gonna hook us up. But we will see y'all this week for the Texas A&M preview. I know everyone's gonna be ready for that except A&M. I'm not sure they're ready right now, so we'll see what happens in their game. We will see y'all mid this week.
Yeah, we'll see you midweek.
Hook 'em.
Welcome Orange.
Beat the hell out of A&M.
Know it.